all these Westerners and their rice. Okay. Good afternoon. Oops, I gotta make you put us on. Hello,
Hello, are we
Mr.
live?
We're live, Mr. Cupboard.
Oh, hang on, let's turn it off. Moshi moshi, moshi
Moshi
moshi.
moshi, genki.
Ahoyo gozaimasu, ganbatte.
Hisashiburi ne.
So desu ne. So desu ne.
So desu ne.
I kept having a dream. I was in Japan, and the only phrase I could remember, I jotted it down. It was like, mamanaku, ni bansen ni densha ga mamairimasu. Hapsen no chigao e omachi kudasai. Abunai Boku-chan.
The train's
that
coming.
phrase is stuck in my head,
back,
waiting at the train station.
Yeah.
How are you? All right?
I'm doing great. It's springtime here. It's 50 degrees. The cherry blossoms are out. It's beautiful. Winter's gone.
It's pouring with rain here.
Oh.
It's miserable. It's Britain. And you know what I've been doing?
What?
I've been shoveling shit. Literally shoveling shit. For landlord, I've been clearing out.
I won't ask for what species.
No.
Please, maybe not a good idea.
Lots of piles of earth, and I've been shoveling it. So it's. But I've made like a garden in a patio now, so like an oasis. I've transformed it. So anyway.
Yes.
So
the reason why we're here, part 2, is we're going to cover a couple of things, right?
Excellent.
We discovered that we both have got art backgrounds, which we're going to talk about, and we're going to talk about challenges of making YouTube videos. And I think we got some good stuff planned today.
That's right. So we got our similarities of backgrounds. We got the bit of creativity. So we're going to show those backgrounds and how it kind of molded us, changed us, and how we're going to apply that to the challenges of making YouTube videos. But I suppose we should stress that we're actually quite beginners at the YouTube bit. So
we are.
The perspective of taking, your experience that you have with these challenges, and there are a few challenges, if you want to make some decent content. Anyway, I see you having fun on your shorts.
I am having fun on my shorts.
Yeah.
You jump-started me with your assistance. I really appreciate that. It took a while to understand the 16:9 ratio. It's taken. There's a couple of. There's some kludgy things I need to do between iMovie and Photos, but I know how to do it now.
Yeah, it's difficult in the editor to find the different format, but once you do, if you watch it, like you watch. We can talk about this later, but you watch a video about. And then you're genned up, and then it's easy once you know how. It's one of those things, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. So are you going to go
flip a coin? Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Should we? You have a coin?
I think you should go first because you're Japan first. Yeah.
Okay.
You're earlier. You're earlier in the. No, you're earlier in the.
Okay.
Day.
So I'm not sure if you're. I don't know if you're probably going to see me, but I'm not going to see you in this process. I just want to let you know that. And I'm not going to be able to point, so I'm going to talk about where I am. You follow me? I'm going to say upper right, upper left. Okay.
That's good practice.
Okay, so
where we are
going to go to the first thing, and that is what I'm going to show you right now. Here you go. Can you see this?
I can see this, 1971 to 75.
Right, and you would ask me how old I was. In 1971, I was 14 years old, Stevie, and that is HS means high school. And when I was, I'm the son of a dentist, and a dentist works on small things, and it's a craftsperson. I mean, if you want to really break it down, of course, they're doctors. And my father had me late in life. And so he indulged me in my interest in working with my hands. And I was really into crafts when I was a kid. There's no medium I did not touch. Metal, ceramic, wood. I built heath kits. But I'm showing you really 2 things that I excelled in. And that was ceramics and woodworking. And you'll see at the upper top, that's me in 72. That's me in a summer camp. And I would go to a summer camp for 8 weeks every summer when I was in high school, and it was the type of summer camp where you could do anything you wanted, and they catered to the applied and the performing arts. So I got into ceramics, and I got very good on a potter's wheel. And you'll see upper left, that's a teapot.
That looks great work for a youngster, you know. Really,
yeah, I was a serious kid.
Dad's precision engineering approach, you know.
It's a donut teapot.
Yeah, very good.
And lower left, that's something called raku, where it's a low fire technique, and the glaze crackles. You basically throw the pot into some ashes, and it causes some crackle. You know, I wasn't much of a painter. I was kind of like influenced by Japan and dropping the glaze on. But the lower left is a vase. Next to it is a covered pot. So I really, again.
And the glaze is kind of very textual. You're looking at textures there as well. Yeah.
Yes. And next to the right is some weaving that I did. And to the far right is woodworking. The upper right is a record cabinet that I made. And the bottom right is a lamp.
Wow. So you're already on the vinyl storage.
Yeah. Already on the vinyl storage. And I went to Rhode Island School of Design because, I certainly wasn't cut out for mathematics or science. Okay. So my family indulged me in sending me to art school. And I was at Rhode Island School of Design for 4 years. And I didn't know what I wanted to. I tried sculpture first. And upper left is a piece of sculpture I made that is cast concrete. Yep. And you had to choose a major, and I chose painting. And I'm showing you 3 examples of paintings. These were all fairly large. They're like 1.5 meters by a meter, and they're funny. I used jokes. I started to understand how to use comedy in painting, but I really wasn't a talented draftsperson. Okay,
some of those look like kind of record cover designs as well.
Yeah. Well, next to the guy with his hands on his head is a record. You see that in the center, and to the right is Hebrew lettering. That kind of meant noise to me because I really couldn't understand Hebrew anymore. And then you have a birthday cake, and you have confetti all around it, and it was called birthday painting.
Yeah. So it's a narrative. Yeah.
Yeah, a bit of a narrative.
I've one like that to show you as well.
Good. And lower left is my class photo, and I'm going to skip on the far right is stuff that I did with water, like mixed media outdoor sculpture. I'm not going to get into that depth.
Like an installation.
An installation, yes. Okay. So I graduate RISD, and I moved to San Francisco with my girlfriend, and I kind of had a life-changing experience. My father passed away. I was in California, and I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And I recalled my ceramics background. My girlfriend had studied printmaking, and she was making ceramic dishes and painting them in bright pattern. And we decided, let's join forces. And we found a tile manufacturer who would make tiles for us. And we started our own hand-painted ceramic tile line.
Very, very enterprising.
Excellent. Very enterprising. Yeah, well, I didn't know.
Like a very trendy thing as well, like tiles.
It was very trendy.
That became very trendy in the UK. I seem to remember in the 90s.
Yes, yeah, I'd go and make appointments with interior architects and designers, and I'd get an appointment. We'd come in and we'd pitch. And you see at the lower left, that was our palette of colors. And we'd walk in there and say, "Here are our patterns. You can have those patterns in any choice of colors that you wanted."
So you're already turning the creativity into a business then. You're already branching out. Lovely.
Right. But Stevie, I didn't have enough of a foundation about business, and I made some mistakes, and the business failed after in 1988. And my friend of mine in RISD was in Tokyo, and he said, "Come to Japan, come visit me." And I did. I went and I visited, and I fell in love, went back to San Francisco, packed up everything, and I moved to Tokyo. Okay. And I'm going to show you one other. I met this guy who had a company, and he had a printing company. And he turned to me and he said, "My printing company is a high-end printing company. We're getting into desktop publishing, and I want to get foreigners in here who can help me show my company what can be the future using desktop publishing and color." And so I became his creative director. And we would do,
creativity meets technology or early technology. Is that you?
That is exactly what happened. He basically said to me, "Michael, you went to RISD. I think that's super cool. I've got this thing called Computer Publishing Laboratory. Come and work for me, and let's just experiment." He goes, "I've got unlimited budget," and he did. "And I've got lots of projects I want to do," and he did. And I was just, a kid in a sandbox. And so this was the second Mac World that we did. It was a 50s hamburger shop that we recreated inside of Makuhari Messe, which was like an exhibition hall. And the theme was Image Burger. We took a hamburger and we took the image database and 3D software and desktop publishing, and you just made a big burger with it.
You Americans, you just turn everything into a burger, don't you?
It's true. It's true. It's true. So I wanted to show you one last thing, and that is a little video of yours truly in Japan.
Wow.
Here I am.
Roll VT.
That's me. Look, there I am.
Excellent.
So look at those big monitors, right?
Oh, excellent.
And so here's my boss, young guy. He spoke perfect English, and we're going to cut over to my portion because they interviewed me. Okay, so we had a deal with Knight Ridder. At that time, the American newspapers were making all their news graphics on the Mac, and hold on, I'm almost done.
Yeah.
We were taking, there I am with a beard. So we were showing how to take news graphics.
Wow.
Watch this.
The old Mac menus.
To Japanese. So we're showing, how to take a news graphic, make it into Japanese. And we sold these as subscriptions to publishers in Japan. So we had a small team and had a couple of Germans and me, and that's what we did. So that's what happened to me.
Wow. Yeah. So kind of like your creativity is kind of followed through. You've picked it up and you've ran with it throughout life in a quite exotic area, and then going into different areas like technology and stuff like that. That would have been extremely popular in Japan at that time, I imagine.
Yes.
Because they were like technology nuts. So and their priority, I seem to remember, when I was there. They're branching out. They want to communicate with all countries and media. So I can imagine that was, quite an exciting time.
It was the bubble, right? It was, and he would have me get on the phone with American companies. I'd say, "Hi, I'm Michael calling from Japan," and they'd be like, "What do you want? Let's talk. Let's do a deal." Very exciting.
Yeah, excellent, marvelous.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. So thank you for showing us that. I think
welcome.
You get a bit of understanding now about your pathway into this, and it's worth mirroring back to our previous discussion in that you've broken from vinyl. So all this is going on, and you haven't taken the vinyl with you necessarily, and you probably haven't even been shopping, getting all those Japanese pressings, and then you come back to it when later in life. So it's very interesting, Michael.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
So
shall I hit you with mine?
I would like that.
Well, I'll set the scene because
let me just remove this whole. Hold on. I'm just. Okay, here we go.
Okay, so we're talking about a young kid who gets a camera. I do a national diploma after school, which has a bit of photography in it. It was actually print design, so I learned about printing. But it's only, and then I worked in camera shops, like an amateur camera shop, professional camera shop, and it's only when I'm coming up to about 30 I've become a mature student at the art college. But before I did that, I did spend some time in Japan. So I just wanted to bridge the gap from the last time about when we went to Japan, so I've got sort of pictures.
Whoa.
I was there all day yesterday with pictures and I found some stuff. So thank you. But I've got hundreds of these pictures, but I won't show too many. So that's my first visit to Japan.
Hold it steady. Okay. One more time. Put it back.
I'm just going to find these very quickly. I've got.
You were definitely popular in Japan.
Yeah.
You were popular.
This is me. This is another picture of me in Japan.
And those are screens.
It's a bit blurred. Yeah, technology. This when from my first holiday, I walked down the road. There was a hole in the road, and I swear to you, Michael, when I came back, you couldn't see where the hole had been. It took them about 40 minutes to repair a sinkhole. So that's Japan. So then I start doing English teaching in the UK. So that's me there. English teaching in the UK with students. And there's more students in the summer. That's actually in Bournemouth in the UK, and that's in a church which has buried in that church is the heart of Shelley, the poet. So that's just a bit of interest. All right, so we get to Japan. This is quite funny. I'll show you this. This is quite funny. So you find yourself being signed up in the English class to lots of like competitions. This is me speaking to like hundreds of people judging a competition. And there's me on the judging panel for some trophy or other. I can't even remember. But this is how you're really living in Japan,
Okay, so you're in a small apartment, probably like a 6-mat room.
And I've got loads of pictures.
Oh, look at that. Oh, yeah.
Traveling around.
So many of us. Sure.
This is a funny story.
Fuji.
This is a Buddhist temple complex. I won't tell you who it is, but a famous jazz musician tapped me on the shoulder. I was the only foreigner there, and this black guy comes up to me, say, "Hey, buddy, how you doing?" And it was a famous, really weird meeting. Famous jazz musician, American jazz musician, contemporary jazz. But you find yourself teaching some highbrow stuff. I remember lying to this group saying that I went to Eton University, where actually I just went to a normal comprehensive. These guys were super brainy. This was a job. So I got lots of jobs like that. You have fun with your students and stuff like that.
Sure.
So we get to.
You went back to the UK.
So we're at art college as a mature student. So I'm just going to flick through a few things. So
Before you do that, let me just acknowledge a guest, and that is Mr. Why isn't this getting bigger?
It's Rob Walker. Hello, Rob.
Rob Walker's here. Yep.
Hello. Okay.
Hello.
So there's little portfolios. I'm just going to flick through just to give you a general idea. I know there's a reflection. Sorry about that. But so you're printing off snapshots, prints, making little portfolios. And I started using, I'll show you these properly in a minute, using some of the old negatives from Japan. And this is on out of focus Leica camera. So there's Japanese shots coming in there. And then, so a little portfolio there. And we start doing putting together other little portfolios. So using text. Still got Rob's comment on there.
I'm trying to get rid of them. Okay.
Yeah, we're trying to get rid of you. So there's little portfolios with text. And I've got sort of poetry on the back. So we're having little exhibitions. There's one from Japan. There's a suicide bomb. So little bits of text. It's quite difficult to, So the Japan negatives are coming in handy.
So is the text part of the piece? Is the text part of the photograph? Is that part of the
it's
work?
a photograph and text, and then they're framed for an exhibition. Oh, sorry, a bit of nudity there. Sorry, beg your pardon.
Right.
Forgot about. I know these aren't coming across very well, so sorry about that, folks.
That's right. That's right.
But bear with me. So these have got covers on them. I had a disastrous sort of mortgage at the time, so I'm writing about the mortgage. So there's a little portfolio there. We're doing other things as well. We're doing collages. So I like to take stuff off the television.
Yep.
So I think that was like a documentary about, I think it looks like Jasper Johns.
Sure. Looks like Jasper Johns.
And then I've got bits off video that I took in Japan. And then other collages with kind of me in it. These are kind of photographs of big boards that I made up. Another one off the television. So I like sort of doing documentaries and visualizing.
And storyboards. You're doing storyboards of some sort, right?
So then we get to a bigger portfolio. I'm going to have to sort of stand up and try and get this one in shot. Move my chair up a bit. Right, how's that coming across?
It comes across. It's a woman holding with her hands to her ears.
Yeah, so that was off one series.
Yep.
Then there was a Japanese series, so we see these shots. These are 12/16s. I'm just trying to. And these are on a Leica CL camera. I'll just turn my screen off so I don't get Leica CL camera.
Yep.
But what I liked in Japan is like all the neon lights.
Well, fluorescent light is really intense here. Yeah.
How can I put it? The green color temperature, because the color temperature of neon is green rather than warm. And these are kind of out of focus shots. So I like taking pictures out of focus so you get the background. This is where I was living. That was my partner at the time. This is Ohanagia, which is literally the flower and I think it's flower market. So that's that one. So these would later sort of go on exhibition. So that's our. So you're familiar with sort of Japan living life, I think.
I sure am. Looks very familiar to me.
Small conditions.
Yep.
Kind of living on top of each other. Unfortunately, a lot of my work didn't survive. It got sort of damaged. So I could have shown loads of stuff, but it's got damaged. I did manage to do some publications. So, and again, I'm focusing on colours like reds and green, and little pointers.
We're at the 25-minute mark, Stevie.
Okay, I'm hurrying up. So sorry, there's a nude there, so I've covered her up. Like that. And I wanted to just show you this as like an example portfolio, and then other things I would do like extended negatives, different formats.
Yeah, I like that.
Formats with text. That's actually my mother. Right, so that's that. So so we do a few portfolios like that. There was an exhibition that we took part on. Oh, actually, I've got a couple of photos down here.
Does the name Dwayne Michaels ring a bell? American photographer?
It rings a bell. I can't remember. So then we have like end of year thing. That's what I entered into our end of year exhibition. That was in the Mall in London. And then we start. We had we took part in the Barcelona Primavera Fotografica, and there's not much to show in this, but my name appears there, Stephen.
Yep.
So we had an exhibition in Barcelona.
Wow.
From that, we met Mr. Camera Austria, and he liked some of our work. So he featured my and colleagues. Unfortunately, there's a nude on there.
Okay.
But we get featured in the publication.
Very nice.
Which was
very nice. Yeah.
4 of those. And there's some of the people. Some of the people were in that. Let me just. Yeah, that's not that one. I entered also John Coble Photographic Portrait Award, and got a plate. If you're selected, you actually get exhibited in the National Portrait Gallery in London. So that was quite nice. So people like Frauke Eigen, she was somebody who used to buy film off me in the camera shop. And I'll show you, there's a couple of pictures here. So there's a picture of Suede and Oasis by different photographers. And so here I am, picture of my mother. And they framed that. That was a sort of 10 by 12 that was framed in the National Portrait Gallery. And they gave it a really nice, huge frame. So that was really nice.
Great.
And then we had the Barcelona exhibition. The photo on my profile on Stevie's Vinyl Cupboard is that. So
we come full circle.
Yeah, so that's the photo that I chose.
Okay.
I thought that sums up me. And then we do a couple of exhibitions. But then, when I left college, it was very much I was thinking myself as a conceptual fine artist.
Yes.
And the experts were coming in saying, "You've done some good work there, Stevie. We think you should go to London and be a fashion photographer."
Oh.
But there's no way I was going to do that. So I actually went and lived on the coast and became a bit of a recluse. And then because I'd left school without any qualifications, I made a mistake of going to academia and doing some degrees. So again, as a mature student. So, and like yourself, when I was traveling around, our similarity lost touch with the vinyl and then came back a bit years later. So that's us. That's us.
Yeah, that's us making YouTube videos.
Yeah. So that's kind of like our creative paths.
Yes.
Quite interesting, our different paths. And then we start this hobby with YouTube. And I must admit, I didn't know anything about YouTube at all. And I watched one of those videos. It said, "Oh, just make some videos, get it out there." So I made some really crap videos. But both of us are getting to grips with it, aren't we?
We are getting to grips, and we have an impatient boy here. So we're gonna. Who wants us to shuffle on?
Crack on. We bored them. Well, I'm interested in
Not me. Oh, that's good. Okay. Where were we? The algorithm.
So poking the YouTube algorithm. So we've got this challenge. How can I think it's best to make the distinction now between you've got channels who are with vinyl, it's quite a niche area.
Yes.
And you've got kind of what seems like traditional presentation methods. Here's the record, here's my finds, and then people talking. And some people have a knack of being very watchable doing that, being very interesting. They've got lots of music knowledge, and it makes for very, very interesting videos. So I suppose what we're talking about is perhaps if you want to do something a little bit different, take that creativity, and I suppose what you're calling it content creation.
Yes.
In a niche area, and there's lots of pitfalls and potholes that you can get stuck in. But at the same time, you've got to try to get that video seen, or make a video that's going to get seen, that's going to be excited by the YouTube algorithm. So you've got to do things like your thumbnails. I've seen people doing nifty thumbnails. That was an early kind of thing. I thought, I better do a thumbnail. I don't want just my ugly face going like that on the video, But then you start getting quite complicated, because I suppose what it boils down to, from a creative point of view, you want to keep your honesty, your integrity, and the creativity that is trying to show, keeping it real, I suppose, and authentic, but not necessarily making it too commercial, but sort of keeping an eye on what might grab somebody's eye. What do you think?
Well, you're not true, but you're not working in a vacuum. And I'm not, we collectively are not working in a vacuum, and we waded out into this YouTube vinyl community world, and we saw other people making videos, right? And we see, okay, there's the guy holding the videos to his head, and the guy's making jokes, the guy's being silly, the guy's being, repetitive, and you think, hell, what am I going to do so that I'm true to myself and I'm interested? And that's my personal challenge, because I think it's your personal challenge as well. And Rob, be quiet. And how to
He's right. It's a good point. It's a good point. We want the videos to be seen. And we get these reports from YouTube, that say, that give you all these numbers, and we really don't have a sense of it, right? We do know that, so part of what we need to do is make friends and talk about the craft of video making, right? That's what I'm doing with you. Yeah. And I do that with a lot of other guys too. Guys like Christian, Concert Buddy, he and I are always talking about ways to craft videos. Marius Stark, who's in the gallery here. I am in awe of this guy, right? Because of the way that he is, effortlessly puts heads on things and makes funny videos. But at the same time, he does really serious technical needle drops. So he's going down 2 channels of creativity. And you mentioned Concert Buddy there. He what strikes me, he's very enthusiastic.
Yes.
And he seems to me, he's making some quite well edited videos with things coming in, and he's looking kind of for a big audience, and that's another thing, because if your channel grows to a big audience, are you getting boxed in? Because I think both of us have a similarity in that we like to have a bit of humor now and then, and of course, if you're doing some shorts, are they bringing they're bringing a few subscribers? Are they going to be the core subscribers that might get your sense of humor on a bigger video, like a comedy video, a bit of comedy brought in, or if you do something a bit quite creative, they might think, what's this? So it's a very difficult balance to strike, I think. Plus, you're minded. Am I going to trigger something? I mean, there are several kind of paths that you can follow. Like if you did the vinyl community competitions, for example, they seem to be very good for getting subscribers. I will do some at some stage, or like rummage videos, like people like looking through bins, or vinyl people like looking through bins. So in fact, my most watched video is a compilation of just going through bins, and it just the views on it just won't stop. So I've got like 200 subscribers, and I've got like 2K, 10 times the viewers for that one video. And you think, what is it about this that's attractive? But yeah.
So I think one thing that I want people to understand, or that I want to get across, is, and I brought up Concert Buddy for a very specific reason. He was the first channel that I saw that spliced in cuts from movies. Okay, he'd be talking, and then boom, what's that? It's Eddie Murphy. Boom, what's that? It's The Exorcist, right? And I spoke to Uncle Dan, and who's a lawyer, and it's called fair use. So what I realized is, wow, I can splice in videos, existing videos that are on YouTube, into my videos, And I did that with a video with in response to Rob Walker, where I used a scene of Ben Kingsley from Sexy Beast, with him going, no, 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 no. And I was like, wow, this opens up so much for me.
Yeah, and you know, you're saying that your vinyl tag video, I stole a bit of your video to introduce my video. So I think we're on a similar path there, in that we're introducing those narratives and flicking back and bits of audio coming in. So yeah, you know, it's a very interesting. It's almost like you're making a narrative collage, but or an audio collage. So it's like mixed media, but you're doing it on an editor. Well, and I guess that's one of the things you should talk about. You need to find an editor that you can get on with.
Yes, an editing software, not a person.
Yeah, yeah. And
although I do use my wife as an editor.
Right. Okay.
I do. I whenever I have a question about a video before I upload it, I show it to her, and she's a whiz at it. She will turn to me and say, "No way, no, go. You know, take this all out," or because there are certain things that a second set of eyes can tell you that you can't see.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think Rob makes a good point there. Marius and Rob make good points in that.
Let me make them big.
It's a bit of a chicken and egg situation with the shorts and getting subscribers, then getting the views, then getting subscribers, and then like new channels. Yeah, take your time, because I'm thinking, I hope I have some subscribers.
Oh, definitely.
2 or 3 years is the time frame for this hobby I'm giving myself to sort of. I've achieved what I want to achieve, and that's getting some creativity into the videos, making the videos that I want to make. But it's baby steps, isn't it? Like at the moment, for each video, I'm just teaching myself a new little skill on the editor. And again, we make the point here, we're beginners with that part of tech. So teaching yourself a little something new for each video. But at the same time, doing what you want to do, keeping real to your thoughts and what have you.
Agreed. It's you figure out different as you reach different steps. There are things in an editor that you've got to master, or else you're not gonna move on. And some of my videos are just a problem solving, like the one with Rob Walker with his with hair. I had to work within the parameters of the length of a movie.
You did it.
And I sweat bullets to do it, but I did it.
Yeah, it's a good. Mine wasn't quite as short.
Oh well.
But you say that I recently I was learning some new skills. I'm having a little phase on the Who, because I remember thinking, what's the first video I want to do? And I said, well, the first video I want to do is on the Who. Yeah. I couldn't do it because I just didn't have the skills. So now I thought, well, I have a few skills. So I made a video on the Who, but it turned into this long rambling monster. But I thought, I'm just going to do it anyway because I'm having fun. I'm having a bit. That's another key thing, having fun. And I put it on, and I've had some very nice comments. People saying, "Great video." So you never really know what's going to hit the mark. And
I don't know, Marius.
Yeah.
Let's go back. I want to go back to what Rob just said here in terms of, I don't edit. It's what works for you, because this is really key. Because you have guys like Harris Pilton, right, who comes in, sits down in front of the camera, superstar, right? And now this guy comes from a boiler room, right? He's got boiler room jobs, right? He works from phone banks, calling people up and pitching them. So he can navigate, and I can't do that. So I've got a lot of uhs and and I have to edit that out. There's no way I could post a video of me just talking for a minute and a half. I couldn't get my point down in. I'd have to edit it to craft it to get my point across.
I mean, Rob's got a good point there. What works for you? I mean, I'm not saying that kind of traditional presentation is bad or anything like that, or uncreative. I think sometimes that can be the most creative. Like you did I know you edited it a bit, but you did a video on your 10, what's it, your 10 perfect songs or whatever.
Oh, there was a lot of editing. Sure.
And you got, let me go to your videos. 10 perfect records, VC challenge. Had a great thumbnail, but your delivery on that was really perfect. I thought that's for that kind of video, that's a perfect presentation, even though obviously you've done a bit of editing on it. It just flowed really well. It was a great presentation, great negative, and you know, you got lots of views for that one, so it's really good.
Right.
But yeah, it really is about what works for you, and I suppose for you and me, we want to get our hands dirty. So Marius makes a point there about what is the motivation of content creators. I think that was his previous comment. I suppose creativity itself, maybe, you know.
For me, it's self-challenge.
Yeah. Why would you have an exhibition of photography? You know, because you're showing people what you're trying to communicate, the narrative that you're involved in. Why would you make a specific portfolio of work? You know, because you want to show it. It is an end to itself, I guess. People have different. I mean, some people might just be lonely and want to show some pictures to other people that are lonely with vinyl. You know, that's perfectly valid. You know, but I think that's a good point, because everybody is an individual, and I think everybody has something interesting to say or an interesting approach. I can find positivity in everybody's videos, and I like the fact that people's videos are individual and distinct in their own way. Yeah, that's what I like about a lot of videos, and I think we're going to give some shout outs a bit later, because we were discussing some. What's the comment?
Okay. So let me, before we get into their comments,
we're getting some good comments.
We are getting great comments. So look,
thank you.
This is a virtual world, right? I will probably never physically shake your hand. I will probably never physically shake Rob Walker's hand or Marius Stark's hand.
I will see you today, Mr. Rice, don't you?
Well, okay, work with me here.
Just stay alive.
So we're forming relationships virtually. We've got jealousies, we've got fighting, we've got competition, we've got friendship, we've got troublemakers, and it's all virtual. I think that's incredible.
I think it's a great laugh. Yeah.
Huh?
It's great. It's incredible, and it's a great laugh as well, you know. As long as you don't take it too seriously, you know. As long as you have a sense of humor about it. Yeah.
So in reverse chronological order, something I said Marius found funny, and Rob said, "I'm lonely, hence I have a channel." That's not true. And then Marius says, "I think you need to have something to offer, either knowledge, charisma, interesting topics, or in my case, some tech talk or making fun of Rababui."
Who's Rababui? Let's not stir anything up, Mr. Rice. Come on.
Hey, it's his words.
Yeah. Yeah. That's my point, though. If you, I think everybody has something to offer. You know, even if it's just, I've got nothing to say about these records. I don't really know much about music, but I bought this when I was 16. You know, and I bought that. Even some of these simple choices are quite interesting, because it shows the person, it shows their character. You know, you see a bit of character, I think, of like people who from the 60s or people in the 70s. Stop making trouble. You're the chair for this. I'm not responsible for anything. Okay?
That's okay. I can handle it, believe me. Yeah. So where we at? Where we at? We've talked a lot here about, you know, the people making challenges. I mean, you know, we could always do another video talking about challenges in the video editor. We certainly don't want to get into that today, right? I will say that I'm kind of, the shorts for me are just, they're a crapshoot, unpredictable. Every time I think this one's gonna do well, It doesn't. I mean, and also time of day. Yesterday I put out that short with a certain Deutschlander over, talking over me sleeping, and
So,
nothing happened. Nothing happened. And then I'm shaving, and it's 10 o'clock in the morning, and I look at my phone, and it's double hockey stick, and I realized, what time is it? Oh, the New Yorkers, both the New Yorkers and the Californians are getting off of work now. Okay, so they've been at work all day. They're looking at their phones, and that's why it spiked. And
yeah.
then they digested, and it was done.
Yeah, I mean, there's some really strange things with YouTube, both on the analytics, and you mentioned the shorts. I've noticed. I mean, I'm playing it safe for the time, for the moment. I'm not causing trouble.
Aww.
No, I don't. I'm just putting music out there on the shorts and just put it in a nifty way. And I've noticed that if I put the short on in UK time, like 5 or 6 o'clock, right, I'll just sit back for 10 minutes, then whoosh, the views go up, and then they stop. And then maybe a day later, it's either one day, 1 hour, between 1 day and 1 day and 3 hours. It might get it. If I haven't put another one on, it gets a second hit maybe, and it'll go whoosh a bit more and then stop. So they're definitely sort of shoving these things in a queue, and you just get 1 or 2 hits, and that's your lot. And after that, it's people searching for a song or whatever, or they're looking at your channel. It really is just, like you say, it's a crapshoot.
Total crapshoot.
Total crapshoot. But
I'd like to
still have a go at it. It's still worth it just to introduce your channel to a wider audience, because there's a big world out there. I've seen some channels like they're talking about vinyl. And I've never seen them interact with anybody in the vinyl community, and they're just completely on their own. And they've got like 10,000 subscribers, 8,000 subscribers, 15, and they're big channels. They're very popular because they're making.
Well, they're purists, and they've decided that it is not the social thing is not for them. That's my interpretation, right?
Yeah, and that's perfectly valid if that's what you want to do,
Yeah. So you're right. There's all sorts of channels. I mean, I find the jazz channels to be a bit of an inventory taking or listing, and it's just going.
Have our preferences. I mean,
we all have our preferences. Yeah.
I have zero money here, so I'm not going to buy a box set for £350.
Right.
And even if I did, I'm not going to unbox it on a video. But just my preference, I would find out, I'm sure somebody else can do it.
Right.
I suppose a lot of the people, actually, there's a good point here with TEFL teaching. I remember when I started TEFL teaching in Bournemouth, and I had lots of different nationalities, and I remember there was this very posh Spanish lady. Okay, and she was walking to class and we were late, and I was saying, come on, so and so, let's hurry up, we've got to get into class. She turned back to me and she said, I don't rush for anybody like this. And then I realized that all my students are actually kind of like, they're either middle class or upper middle class or beyond. They've got richer parents, and they're the ones that are able to afford to send their kids abroad for 1 or 2 or 3 weeks at a time.
Yeah.
And that's my whole kind of class audience. And there's a little bit of that in the vinyl community, no disrespect to anybody, but some people are well off. They've got lots of money. Yeah, I can buy this. I can buy this. Mo-fi, analog. I can buy this. I've got a high-end stereo. So there's quite a chunk that is not from my background, shall we say, my humble background. I'm scratching around here for money and thinking, £10 at the charity shop. Oh, that's a bit, I need to come to Japan and get some of those 300 yen records, But yeah, there's a bit of that going on. You may not realize it, but some of the channels are like, slightly more well off, upper middle class people,
sure,
who have a bit more time as well. And then you got people like yourself who are retirees, so you've got time to get interested in what's happening now. Come on, Cher, crack the.
Okay. That would be funny. Outdoors.
Yeah. So that's just an observation, because TEFL students abroad, for me or in the UK, were slightly like that. I used to have to sort of think, what's the origin of this person?
Sure.
Well, their background, where they're coming from. But yeah, so there's a little bit of that. But it takes all sorts, and I think we've got quite a mix of people, certainly.
So did we cover this?
Well, versus, yeah, I think we made that.
We did, right?
I think we made that.
And I think we kind of touched on this too.
Well, I think actually I've got my next video, which I'm going to upload today, practicing some skills. It's actually going to be quite a surprising video, but I'm mastering the basic skills now. I think I'm just getting into the basic skills, and with this video, I'm trying to take the viewer to a different place. There's a bit of humor in there as well, so I'm going to take the journey. And I made a video that I think you might agree is not your normal video, and I won't say any more than that. I'll just hype it up a bit. But yeah, so new ideas for videos. I think that's quite. If you're talking about trying to practice a bit of content creation, get your creativity in, then there's a lot of standard ideas. You say that, Marius. I've got a great idea for a shower video. Do you know what it is?
What is it?
Trying to recreate, Susie and the Banshees and Budgie.
I don't. Budgie.
Who was the drummer of Susie and the Banshees?
Okay.
The second drummer. They had their little side group called The Creatures. And they had a single where the cover is those two, kind of the top half is naked in the shower, and they're showering themselves with champagne. So I was going to try and do a video recreating that, but my missus is not very keen on that. But I have an Italian friend who is a very kind of feisty girl, and she's up for it. So I'm just trying to. So you might get a shower video. I don't know.
So your next video is going to be uploaded when? I'm going to see it tonight. I'm going to see it tomorrow.
It's coming at 10 o'clock today in the UK. It will be on later this evening in the UK. So it will be there for you, Mr. Rice, when you wake up in the morning. So
what a treat!
It's only a short one, but I expect you to watch the whole thing.
I promise. You're still sore that I didn't watch the whole thing.
How dare you?
You're still sore. Hold a grudge much.
You didn't even get past 10 minutes. It's like, I've had enough of this crap.
Very good.
Yeah.
Let me just see. Frampton just talked about wiring his bathroom to create an effect on Michael Frommer's show. So okay. Rob says, I have hundreds of ideas that's never a problem. I just don't want to celebrate someone's death. Well, yep. Marius, I take it you're going? You leaving us? I think so. Good seeing you again, Marius.
Well, we got some good viewers today, and I think on our last video
we had nobody. It was a morgue.
But we got some good hits afterwards, and I think it's your. I clicked on popular videos, and it's the 4th highest popular live video of yours. So we're doing okay. We got.
I think we're doing okay. I think people are generally curious.
The great English philosopher Alan Partridge. We've got a hit on our hands.
Well, it's multi-culti, okay?
Yeah.
So we are. What are we going to talk about next?
Why don't we just? I sent you some links. Why don't we big up some channels that we quite like at the moment? How about that?
Okay.
I think that'd be good, and say why we like their videos
For the next time we convene. Let's push that off to
well, no, we can do it now. You can do it now, yeah.
Okay.
Give some shout outs to people.
I'd like to give some shout outs.
Yeah.
So I've got 5 shout outs. Okay. And I did this. My first shout outs are to 3 American channels. And I did this in terms of a tiering.
Do you want to flash on the screen or too much?
No, I can't. I have to speak on. What I'll do is I will make bookmarks in this video and include the ones we mentioned. Okay?
Put the links.
I'll make chapters. Yeah. My first one is I mentioned before, in terms of this is that I'm impressed with, or that I that I see as important, that have done some important things. And I'll go back to Concert Buddy because he does interesting thumbnails and he splices in existing YouTube video content and he embraces fair use. The next one is Reverend Rockin Rollin, because this guy is an excellent storyteller. He has great editing skills. He uses existing YouTube movies, again, with the fair use. And he's a great public speaker. And my third one on the Americans is Chromium Dioxide Radio, which takes the bar and moves it to the 13th floor. Because this guy comes from advertising animation. Go on.
You mentioned him before, I think, in one of your other videos.
Yeah. Chromium Dioxide Radio. He can only produce a few videos because the production takes so long. So he's in full-length motion pictureville. So I go from Concert Buddy, who is experimenting and has found his sea legs, to Reverend Rockin Rollin, who is, who's like the Robin Williams of the VC, to Chromium Dioxide Radio, who's like Francis Ford Coppola. Now, I want to end this with the Finnish. There's 2 Finnish channels.
Yeah.
Bad English Rex, also known as Mr. Finglish, where you never see his face. Okay. You only see his hands or a gas mask, and talk about making a video on no budget and making it interesting. That's Mr. Finglish. And then the last one is Tommy's Vinylnaut, who goes through his home and he does everything on his own, 0 budget. He's created the vinyl inspector. This guy, Tommy's Vinylnaut, submitted a video challenge to Chris from Record Talk. And this guy got other channels to pitch into his video. He had guest presenters on his own video for Chris from Record Talk. I was like, that's friggin' amazing. So the Finnish, and I'm done. And we'll put these into the. I'll make bookmarks and please discuss.
Put the links in. Okay, I'm gonna flip that because I see where you're coming from. I mean, I really love the Rev and the videos he does. He's actually, I don't know if he works in video editing or something, because he really puts them together. They're very slick. Okay, well done, Rob. All right.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
So I'm gonna flip that a bit, and I'm gonna go kind of more less of what we've been talking about, maybe more.
Okay.
So a couple of channels. One my flavor of the week this week is James Griffiths. James Griffiths Music. I sent you the link, and he's just very good at talking about stuff, and he does little bits of editing here or there. He does a good thumbnail. He's an established channel. I hadn't come across him very much before, but he has a very good manner about him, and it's very kind of attractive. It's very watchable. And I clicked on him the other day, and he's like, he joined a Zoom call, and they're interviewing, is it Godley from Godley and Cream, 10cc, and he's like talking to that fella, and I was like, what, and so that's the kind of level he's moving in. And then he does like a review of an LP, a deep dive, and he's perhaps not doing what we're talking about, but there's a bit of editing, and he's deep diving into the minutiae. So all right, James is a journalist. Thank you, Rob. So so you can see you see the talent of the guy, I think, and it's very very watchable. So he's my pick of the week, and of course we've mentioned Harris Pilton because he's just very good at sitting down and doing what he's doing. And interesting, he commented on mine. He said it was a very long wait at the start, and that before his channel started elevating and getting subscribers, but he's just stuck to his guns and doing what he was doing. So that's very good. I want to another channel started, sort of similar subscribers to mine, Nick's Vinyl Butty. So this guy's a lorry driver, doesn't have much time, but it's just it, and he does his karaoke in the lorry. That in itself is a great video. So I want to see more of that. He's worked squeeze, but he's working on cream. All right, thanks, Rob. Rob setting me straight. Rob knows all about it. Nick's Vinyl Butty, a couple of others. Berwickshire Mike. I find it quite funny. He does like it's like 10 good punk records. Okay. So he gets a lot of hits. Then it's like 10 more punk records. 10 more punk records. I think that's brilliant. So Berwickshire Mike, Suffolk Audiophile. Again, quite an interesting fella to listen to, and he's kind of mastered the art of talking to the camera. And then a couple of others: Mike Vinyl Spiral, Vinyl Martini, and Marcia P. Those are my picks this week. So a bit more kind of traditional presentation, but they've got something about them, which I find quite nice, and they're good enough to comment on my channel as well. So I thought I'd give them a shout.
So those are mostly from the UK, right?
Mostly, yeah.
Vinyl Martini is from the States.
He's the States, yeah.
And Marcia is also from the States.
Florida.
I like Vinyl Martini too. Jack is like Aris, he doesn't do any editing whatsoever. He sits down, he goes right through it.
Yeah, and they do it very well,
Yeah.
You see, I don't think I could do that, because so maybe it's a bit of desperation, insomnia channels. Come on, Rob, do the UK live stream. We love you. Do a UK live stream on a Sunday. That's my challenge. Put down the challenge to you. So, what? Anything else we want to talk about? Are we going to do another one?
I think so, but I'm going to be doing a bit of traveling. I'm going to be away for 2 weeks, and I'd welcome the challenge from doing it from a hotel, but I can't really promise a lot of good pre-prep. We can try it.
Well, we gave this one a couple of weeks, so
let's give the next one a couple of weeks.
Take your time. There's no rush.
Sorry, mid-April.
Yeah, just don't die in the meantime.
I won't die.
That'll screw up the live stream.
I won't die. Promise.
So I think we had a little chat, didn't we? And we were, we were talking about was it the big question? Why do we do this? Why do we collect? Why do people collect vinyl? Why do they do it?
I'm not covering that. Sorry. Negatory. No.
All right.
That's too.
We'll have a think then.
Yeah, because then why we did that. This guy would be all over us like white on rice. So forget it. Why? Why do we collect vinyl? I gotta have a little think about that. Don't give me that.
I've got
that face.
Yeah, it's nostalgia, contemplating your own death, that sort of thing.
That's where you want to go. Okay, here's where you want to go. You want to go into what are you going to do with your friggin' collections? What's the end game of the collection?
I mean, ultimately, the end game is, who will take up the vinyl, because are the youngsters going to get into it with such enthusiasm, or do these collections just go into all of a sudden these charity shops are overwhelmed with these things called vinyl records and nobody gives a shit about them? Who knows? Does it die with us?
I don't think the tape is going to be calling you and asking for your collection.
Yeah. So
okay. All right, Rob. All right. That nearly killed me. Well, come on. It's only been an hour.
We are worthy of the emoji. Thank you.
Audience. Okay. Bye, Rob.
Rob has accidentally clicked on the wrong emoji there. He meant the thumbs up.
Okay. All right. So why don't we wrap up, and then you and I can have a little chat. How's that?
That sounds great. But I want to tell you a little story.
Please.
Before we wrap up, I'll tell you a little story you might be interested in.
Okay.
Going back to this exhibition in Barcelona.
Yes.
The Barcelona Primavera Fotografica. We were looking at another. I was thinking of you, thinking about this. So we put our exhibition up, and we were stop laughing at people's comments. Right, you listening?
Hold on. Yeah. Are you
so I'm looking at an installation. Okay.
Yes.
And it's a Spanish girl's installation, and you have to put on headphones and watch a video. And on the video, somebody is like putting their hand on the floor and making a noise. Right, it's quite a wacky installation.
Okay.
So I put the headphones and I start stroking the floor the same as in the video. And the artist, it's like an installation. The Spanish girl comes out of nowhere. And when I finish, she grabs hold of my hand and just leads me away. And I thought, oh, this is interesting. Where are we going? And we go up a flight of stairs. This is in Barcelona Art College, the Central Art College. And we go to the top floor. Said, I want to show you something. And on the top floor, there were these sort of stained glass windows with this sort of just the correct light. And the whole top floor was like painting easels with like traditional painters and artists' easels. Yeah. And I swear to you, Mike, it was like going back 200 years in time. It was like you could see Turner or Picasso working in there, and it was just I immediately thought of you because I thought you did some painting as well, and it's just such a traditional scene. I thought that's just amazing. Would this place ever survive? I don't know if it's still there. It was just such a privilege just to walk in there and see that scene. Right. I don't know why she showed it to me, frankly, but she just.
Well, she probably knew that you appreciated her artwork, and she thought, "What else can I show this guy?" And the first place she could think of is take him to an art studio. She probably wanted you to get a sense of the sanctum where things get created. That's my guess.
It was just painting. That was all it is. Painting easels and. Yeah, I just thought, but it was like I'll never see that scene again. That scene, when they redo that room or rooms like it will never exist again. So as we go through time, I think that's the lesson we learn, isn't it? Okay, so is that it for today?
I think so. I want to keep it short. Marius. Cool transports. I might see you this weekend with Uncle Dan and Bobby, I hope. We made it an hour earlier. Rob has left us. Stevie, it's been a pleasure.
It's a pleasure with you, Mr. Rice, and stay out of trouble.
I will do my best. I really will. I will. Bye, Marius. Bye, guys.
All right.
And we end. Ciao.
Sayonara.
Sayonara.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.